Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my guy on the East Coast, Nate Weitzer. Another great article up on playpicks.com for you guys. Pretty fat NBA slate tonight. Some DFS and best bets from Nate in there. Make sure that you are subscribed and like to the page. Jump in those comments. Let us know who you are gambling on tonight. We will have a gift card prop here in a minute. So I'm going to ask you guys to drop the total that you think that we'll give you there in the comments. And as always, if you do need a DraftKings or FanDuel account, head to ftpicks.com or dkpicks.com. Find all those local listings in your area. Nate, let's jump into those lines for today, the 21st.
Yeah, what a loaded slate we have here on April 21st. Starting with the Bulls, -2.5 at Cavs. The tanking Thunder, +10.5 at the Pacers, who will rest Domantas Sabonis against that depleted squad. Then a premier matchup, the Suns -1 at Sixers. We'll see if Ben Simmons returns for that one. Steph Curry looks to lead his Warriors, -2.5 at the Wizards. The Nets are +3 at Raptors on the second leg of a back-to-back. Hawks +1 at your Knicks. The Jazz -11 at the Rockets. The Pistons +11 at the Mavericks. Heat and Spurs in a pick'em. The Grizzlies are +2.5 at the Clippers. The Nuggets -1.5 at Blazers with Dame Lillard returning. And then the Kings and Wolves go for the second night in a row. Wolves are 4.5-point underdogs despite winning and despite the fact that the Kings could be without De'Aaron Fox. Lot to sift through there, Josh, but I know you're going to start with the team that always has your eye. And go ahead and take it away. Fan appreciation night for the New York Knickerbockers.
This is definitely another Knicks fan appreciation segment. You're going to have to pry my phone from my cold, dead fingers to stop me from betting on the Knicks moving forward. They are taking on the Hawks tonight. I'm a little scared. I saw them last night. They still pulled it out, covering the spread against the Hornets, something that they've done a ton in their last 10 games. They're 8-2 and in their last 10 overall, 10-0 against the spread in that time. I did think they looked a little bit tired at the end. Julius Randle, is a big dude playing a lot of minutes. He still made his free throws at the end. So, we'll see how fatigue sets in. Tibbs has been known to play his guys. One time he played Jimmy Butler 55 minutes in a game and played him the very next night, 33. So I think we're still going to see guys playing, not getting too much rest. It does feel a little bit, once again, like a potential letdown game. But what I see when they play the Hawks tonight, number one, they're both on 0 days rest. The Hawks are 4-5-1 in those situations, and the Knicks are 7-4 with a +10.4 overall in those games. And then really Atlanta, they've got, they've won 8 of their last 10. They're 8-2 against the spread, but it's the same story with Atlanta. Every time they go on one of these runs, they haven't even beaten a team with a 500 or better record in that span. All 8 of those wins came against teams with a worse than 500 record. They're going to Clint Capella, something to like there. He obviously is playing incredibly well. Once they have him, they are an established good defensive team. So I don't think you're going to see a ton of points tonight. But I do think you're going to see another good game from Julius Randle, who, is somebody who plays really well this year against the Hawks in 2 meetings. He's got 36 points. He's averaging 36, 13, and 7 assists on 39% from 3 and 75 from the free throw line. And power forwards in general this year, bless up to StatMuse, an incredible site where I was easily able to find that power forwards, starting power forwards this year against Atlanta have an offensive rating of 118. So you look at what, it's no surprise Julius has been able to do really well against them. So I'm finding more value. It started as a pick 'em. They're up to +1.5 at home against the Hawks is what I'm seeing in a lot of places. I'm happy to take that very much so, or even just take the money line for the Knicks against that Hawks team tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Hawks in an unpredictable season are one of the few predictable teams in terms of taking care of business against bad teams and not stepping up against a good team. The power forward numbers against them is also pretty indicative that John Collins is not healthy and hasn't been for a while. He's still on a minutes limit. I love Randall again as a play in DFS, and I think he keeps the Knicks going. Their win streak is much more notable in that they've beaten 4 playoff teams during that stretch, like you said. So they really stepped up against everyone and been particularly effective at home. Usually when favored, they come through, and I'm taking this pick'em game as them being favorite.
Totally.
And I will absolutely back the Knicks in this matchup. Looking at another Eastern Conference game, the Nets are tired. Yes, they just had a shootout with the Pelicans, and they go to Tampa where they will face the Raptors, who apparently decided that this is a game they want to win after resting their guys off and on for weeks. Now everybody is playing. Kyle Lowry, Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, Fred VanVleet. Come on down, suit them up, and try to win a 24th out of 26 matchups with the Brooklyn Nets. Granted, the Nets have only had stars recently, but the Raptors have won the last two, including scoring 150 points against them in the bubble last year. We are obviously looking at the points here all over. The Nets, after a brief lull where they were playing some great defense, have been the Nets that we grew accustomed to in the first half. Let's just try to outscore guys. Obviously, with Kyrie Irving's the identity of your team, that's going to be more of the approach. Let's keep it close until the fourth, and then what we saw last night, Kyrie will close. So you're looking at Harden is out. Durant has a chance to play here, and they average something like 124 points per game when he plays, so that's obviously great. Nets team total is just 112.5. They have not had a huge letdown on back-to-backs in terms of their offense. They average 117. They average a league high 120 on the road. They give up 117 on the road. That's up from 111 at home. And they still shoot 39% from three without Harden. Like I said in yesterday's show, the Raptors are 25th in three-point defense. The Raptors allow 114 points per game in Tampa. They can fill it up on the other end. When you see Fred VanVleet play, their offensive rating jumps from 109 to 114. And this weird stat, when Kyle Lowry plays, their defensive rating is 8 points worse per 100 possessions. It's up to 115. Their offense is slightly better with Lowry. So I like the over here. It's at 228 as we speak. And I like the Nets over. And I'm considering you put the two together, the Nets to win in and the over, you get plus 335 at DraftKings for some nice juice there.
Yeah, just to be clear, Nate likes points tonight. Points in that Nets Raptors game. That's where I'll put my money on that game for sure is points. I never know what's going to happen with them. I do like the way Kyrie's closing games, but you said it. They're going to bring it tonight as they bring all of their stars back for a game they clearly want to win, continue their beatdowns of the Nets as of late. Moving to the West, Nate, I'm going to talk about the Clippers and Grizzlies. I don't love this game a ton initially, but I dove a little deeper. And, Jonas Valanciunas is not playing. That's huge. You've also got Kawhi, Pat Bev, and Serge Ibaka out for the Clippers, which I don't think will be that big of a deal for the Clippers, to be honest. I'm looking for how much Zubac's going to play well tonight, but I'm looking for how much Valanciunas means to Memphis. I think he's just as, if not more important, than John Morant to this team this year. He leads the team in player efficiency rating and win shares. And in Memphis, when you look at what they do well, they lead the NBA in both second chance points and points in the paint. At about 56 points in the paint a game. You look at JV, right? He's 12.6 boards a game, 4.5 offensive boards a game. So he is, the main reason that they're so good on the offensive boards and the boards in general. And the reason that they win a lot of games is their style of play that way. Without him, plus the fact that you've got the Clippers, who are fourth in limiting opponents' points in terms of second chance points. They limit those, the fourth best in the NBA. And when Zubac plays actually and starts for the team this season, they're 14-5 against the spread. He averages about 11, 8, and 2 assists or so, almost 9 boards there. So I'm going to consider his props. But mostly I like the fact that the Clippers are, an NBA best 9-2 against the spread on 0 days rest. We've talked about that a bunch this season. And then you've got Memphis coming off, 2 nights ago, they came off a really bad, double overtime loss to the Nuggets. Took a lot out of them. And just an interesting stat, once again, shout out StatMuse, since 2018, a couple of years ago, the Grizzlies are 3-10 coming off of an overtime game. They do have Triple J back. Shout out Jaren Jackson Jr. will be back in the lineup, which is nice. But I do think that, him coming back, you're going to see some rust. You're going to see him struggle to sort of fit in with the team in his first game back, I think. So I think they are going to struggle there. And I think you can definitely find some value with a Clippers team that's used to not having both their stars in and can still get it done.
Yeah, the stat for me there is just the way the Clippers perform on these back-to-backs. They didn't lose last night, but they did not put their foot down. 113 to 112, barely beating the Blazers. And you just don't see them let up on both ends of these back-to-backs. They sometimes just punt one and then go all out for the other. I do like the Clippers tonight. Yeah, it will take a little bit of time for Jaren Jackson to get back in the flow of things. I think that's a bit of a wild card in terms of picking the points in this game. Memphis has fluctuated really wildly, super efficient on offense, but at home they tend to go under more. They tend to go when they have a little bit of a rest advantage, they can ramp up the defense and go under more. So I would stay away from the total in this one. I would back the Clippers though, who continue to be on a roll. Yes, despite not having Kawhi recently. Speaking of guys on a absolute heater, Steph Curry in the midst of the greatest shooting stretch we have ever seen in the NBA per Steve Kerr. I don't think anyone's really going to argue with him there. He's shooting 50% from three this month and averaging 41 points per game. And coincidentally, he averages 40 points per game and shoots 50% from three his last three meetings with the Washington Wizards, who have actually played great defense. We mentioned yesterday, they've won 3 of their last 4 at home, and they have the best defensive rating in the league during that span. They're 5th in three-point defense in that span as well, but I don't care. I don't think Steph cares. The Sixers were number 1 in three-point defense before just getting twisted into a pretzel by Steph, who just drained another 10 threes. I don't understand why the Warriors aren't bigger favorites in this matchup. It's fluctuating down to a pick 'em in some spots or -1. I would absolutely consider it a toss-up. Yes, they lost a rather low-scoring game in Washington, or that was actually at home against Washington. Yeah. They lost 110-107 a couple weeks ago. James Wiseman was on the floor for that one. I'm really just not a fan of that guy's demeanor at this point, but just the stats you look at, they average 117 when he doesn't play versus 110 when he's out there. He will not play tonight, and hopefully they can get Juan Toscano back. It's just guys who know how to fit in, get in where you fit in around Steph. With Draymond leading the charge, they do have Kelly Oubre back, who is sort of figuring out his role alongside Steph, or at least leading that second unit to keep things going. So yes, just like the Warriors, you can get some nice bonuses on FanDuel. Steph to get 35 plus in a win is plus 220. You want to go 40 plus again, that's plus 400. It's definitely not out of the realm of possibility. And I would look on the other side. Bradley Beal and Steph are neck and neck for the scoring title right now. Beal's prop is at 30.5 points, pretty much even money there. I think he can get back and forth with Steph and top that total as well.
Yeah, it's definitely damning, the stats that you pointed out for James Wiseman, how much better Steph specifically is when James Wiseman's not playing. Not really entirely sure what that's about. He's a 19-year-old kid, but at the end of the day, everything you said can be summed up by just don't bet against Steph Curry right now. That's silly. He's unconscious. And he is going to be the figure in our prop total tonight, Nate, for that gift card. Make sure you are liked and subscribed to the page for the eligibility to be able to win the gift card, which is based on the props for Steph Curry tonight. We want his point total, and we also want how many threes you think he's going to hit. Don't combine them. We want his point total in the comments as well as how many threes you think he's going to hit. You need to get both of those numbers correct tonight in order to win that gift card. But make sure you jump in the comments and let us know what you think about that prop tonight. I know I'm going to be betting entirely overs on Steph. I'm not looking to sort of get ahead of the curve of him slowing down anytime soon. I'm not going to play that game. So, I'm a big fan of that game, so I'm going to be watching it. And I think you had one other game you wanted to talk about, Nate. I know we got a marquee matchup tonight.
Oh, yeah. Got to talk about Sixers Suns. So just for example, on that gift card, because it's kind of a weird one here, I would guess Steph gets 36 points and hits 8 threes tonight. I would put in the comments 36 plus 8. And if you get both right, you get that gift card. If not, if nobody gets it, we're going to roll it over. going for a little unique look here
Yeah.
on this show. And I just wanted to touch on that Sixers Suns game. The thing I'm eyeing is the under. It's the total sitting at 221 right now. It just jumped up half a point as we speak. I like both of these teams. Their competitive nature, keep it low scoring. As long as we avoid overtime, I think we'll go under. The Sixers have gone under in 11 of last 13 against playoff teams, and that's really all I need to know. They play defense at home. The Suns play defense wherever they go. These teams are 5th and 7th in points per game allowed, and I think we will see some good defense tonight. Looking at things from a DFS perspective, we don't even have to mention Steph Curry as a premier play. Paul George, obviously stepping up with Kawhi out. Reggie Jackson should also see an expanded role. I like Pascal Siakam particularly against the Nets. If you're pairing with some of their cheaper plays, I'm not playing Kyrie. I didn't play him last night because he doesn't get you many stats beyond points, but I do love what Joe Harris, Landry Shamet, and Jeff Green are doing off Kyrie. Kobe White is now kind of the number one option for the Bulls, at least in the backcourt, so he's worth a look at a pretty cheap price tag. And then there's going to be tons of value in that OKC Pacers game, per usual with the Thunder the rest of the year. If they do sit Luguentz Dort, you're going to look at Poku as probably the guy seeing a ton of usage. I have Dort in the lineup, and I'm ready to pivot onto someone else if he is ruled out. And then the Pacers are sitting to Sabonis, so Malcolm Brogdon, TJ McConnell, Karis LeVert are going to see more usage. And I would look at Justin Holiday as a cheap option. Jeremy Lamb and Doug McDermott could also sit tonight against the worst team in the league currently.
Nice. I'm also just one quick one eyeing Bogdanovich for the Hawks. John Collins continues to have those limited minutes, as you said. He's been putting up about 22.5 points his last 10. Bogey from the 4 spot, shooting about 50% from 3. So really like what he's able to do. That is all the time we have for today. Nate, big show, big slate tonight. We'll be looking forward to seeing what you guys put in the comments for Curry's points and also his 3-pointers made tonight to get that gift card. And we'll be back with another show for you guys tomorrow. And as for tonight, happy betting.